What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, I wanted to show you one of my failed brands. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would I show you something that didn't work? And it's actually because the things that don't work are oftentimes the things that you can actually learn the most from and extract value out of so that you know what not to do on all of your ventures moving forward. So this brand was one of many that I've ran and that completely and utterly failed, but that has been a pivotal stepping stone and a milestone towards knowing more of what not to do, and also ultimately more of what to do and how to actually improve the things that I've done in the past, whether they have worked or they haven't worked. So I think just like how you can learn from case studies of positive growth, like my 100K per day case study that I can link somewhere above this video, maybe in the corner over here, if my editor can help me out with that. So you can learn just as much from the failed businesses like what I'm about to show you as you can from these successful businesses and case studies that you see all over the internet, on YouTube, things of that nature. I'd recommend looking into both, but the problem is not many people are confident enough to reveal the failures and to show you why things didn't work. I personally think it's just as important to network with people who are going to be transparent and who are going to reveal their previous failures, because you're arguably going to learn a lot more from those than you are from their successes, especially if someone got to a certain level of success without a lot of work and without a lot of trial, tribulation, and failures, because then problem is it's not guaranteed to continue to happen. They might be a one-hit wonder and then not, have any foundational structural systems that they can repeat into future businesses. And so they think it's going to keep happening, but it actually doesn't. So again, contrary to that, I'm going to actually show you one of my businesses that completely and utterly failed, and hopefully you can take something away from it and learn how to apply it to your current businesses to make sure that you succeed. So I'm actually in my computer right now, and I'm in an ads manager that I recently got access to. And this is what motivated me to actually make this video, is because I opened it up and my jaw just dropped. I was like, man, I can't believe that this was so recent and the ads were so bad, and the way that I was trying to run the business was completely opposite of what I do now and what I should have done in order to grow this company. So first and foremost, to give you some background, this business was called realrings.com, and it sold spinning rings, so like fidget rings, anxiety rings, things that were trending in the marketplace. A little over a year ago is when I sold this. And my original intent was to have a little bit of an organic base built up, but I didn't have very good content acquisition systems. I wasn't very comfortable making TikToks or making videos nearly as much as I am now. And so I ended up going into running ads a little bit prematurely, instead of just trying to get that first sale, get someone to, spend their first dollar on my store to really get motivated to continue to sell it, right? And so I did kind of the opposite of what I preach now, which is focus on building out your foundations first, ideally through, the cost-effective marketing strategies, the organic TikTok, the organic Instagram, YouTube Shorts. A lot of these short form content platforms are going to be great. Even going on Facebook Marketplace, opening up a Facebook shop, right? These are all places that you can go to get essentially free traffic and to just get that first sale or two. Because until you get that first sale or two, which you don't want to pay money for, right? Like, you don't want to pay to acquire your first customer with any business. You want to be able to hustle for a couple of days or a week or so and see if you can just get that first sale, that first $100 day, that first $500 day, whatever it might be, organically or without having to spend any money on ads. Because if you can do that, then you know that your product has enough pent-up demand for it to actually work with paid advertising. But if you rush the advertising and you don't give it enough time to, or effort to be able to get that first sale without spending money on ads, then you're probably gonna overspend and under profit. Or I guess you're probably not gonna do that well with paid advertising, right? Now, don't get me wrong, you can have plenty of products that are going to pop off with paid advertising, and that might just suck organically, and that might not be a route, and that's totally fine. But if you're looking to build a sustainable and a long-term brand in 2023 and beyond, wow, that sounds so weird to say, but we're 2 weeks away from 2023 and a new year. But anyways, if you're looking to build a profitable and, more importantly, a sustainable brand that's gonna last for months, if not years, then you need to make sure that you have a very good content acquisition system in place, and that your infrastructure and your foundations are really, really good. And the best way to be able to do that is by holding yourself accountable to getting your first couple of sales organically, or by getting your first couple of sales from Facebook Marketplace, from eBay, wherever you can list that product, to just get that initial proof of concept and traction for your business before you go balls to the wall and start spending thousands of dollars a day on Facebook and TikTok ads because every 17-year-old and their grandmother who have barely scratched the surface of 6 figures in revenue is telling you, right? Anyways, this is the product. There was a bunch of variations. Another piece of advice, I spent like $1,500 developing this website to get the variants to look a lot like this brand right here. So when you click on one of their products, first of all, so many things to learn from this brand. I could probably make a whole separate video about, but when you hover over the product, there's a preview of someone wearing it. I think it's really important if you sell wearable products, but there's a preview of someone wearing it. And so you'll see in the TikTok video, a glimpse of the website. It's currently closed down. I wish it was up because it was honestly really good. And it was very simple too. But when you click on the actual product page, you see that they have, add to bag. You see that they have like a nice little description section. That's like a preview. Then they have very simple, details. And then they have like, you may also like, but in terms of like the variant selection, I think they recently changed it, but oh, these are the earrings. So if I look at one of their rings, then you'll see how they actually do their sizing, which I really liked. And they had, their sizing selection, they had their variants, so if there were different colors, things of that nature. And then they had their size guide. So I had some very similar things going on. And I basically paid like $1,500 to custom develop it because I was pretty confident in the brand. And I still am confident in that brand. If I wanted to rerun that now, it would probably do very well, but I've moved on to other things. I was doing too many things at once, and so I really just put that on the absolute back burner of all my businesses, and that's probably why it didn't do too well. But let's dive in and actually show you what the heck I was doing, why it failed, so that you can learn from my mistakes and prevent yourself from doing them, right? So first and foremost, I sold a couple of different products. It was really only 2 that I had tested, and I had also split tested driving traffic to collections pages or product pages, and I tested a couple different creatives, but not nearly enough, right? Not nearly enough creatives, not nearly enough products, not nearly enough audiences. I just kind of expected it to work because I had other brands that I was actually actively running at this time that were doing quite well with some pretty simple media buying, simple structure, simple creatives. But sometimes new brands require a little bit more to get off the ground than ones that already have existing momentum, right? So I kind of neglected really the fundamentals of advertising, of product offers, right? Of media buying, etc. So to give you a little bit of a timeline, I spent $200, $100 cost per purchase. Keep in mind my break even was probably like 20 because I was selling these for I think 25 at the time, or maybe even 20, and I was getting them for like 7. So the break even was somewhere around $15 to $20. So obviously that didn't suffice. 7 add to carts, $30 cost per add to cart. So I had to get a cost per purchase below what my cost per add to cart was. So obviously it wasn't doing well. So I said, all right, how can I improve these metrics? Because the CTR was not horrible. The CPC was pretty bad, above a 1, and the CPMs were pretty reasonable for, Q4 traffic, heart of COVID 2021, where everyone and their grandmother was advertising an e-commerce business, right? So I pivoted to a different product, one that I actually still have to this day that I actually really like, and that looks pretty good on me. And I'm not a very, big jewelry or a ring guy, but as you can see, I literally ran images that I took with like a neighbor of mine who was really good with a camera. And I mean, these are pretty good images. Like, this is pretty decent content, but the problem is you don't want to put all your eggs on just in one basket, even if that's a basket of 3 or 4 or 5 different pieces of content. You have to have dozens that you're ready and able to test or that you're able to acquire. You have to have a bunch of good high quality images, a bunch of good high quality videos. I think I had one, billow video that I threw in the towel for because it was getting high costs. I had this image of me and I had this image of a friend who was like kind of helping me out as a model. And I tested a couple of different stacked interests because I found that, the audiences were performing a little bit better as stacked interest than, broad or single interest or whatever it might be. I had such basic targeting, basic setups, nothing too fancy. And then I can show you a little bit of a glimpse as to what the website looks like, but I don't think the website was the issue. I think it was the way that I was acquiring traffic, and I was doing it prematurely without proof of concept in the content or the products, right? If I were to go back in time, I would have started on TikTok. I would have created 20, 30 videos, figured out which one had the most traction, which one got the best response, and I would have gone and doubled down on testing that product with that piece of content or that style of content that converted very well, right? So let's pivot to so these other 2, I think I was just testing more audiences, maybe more creatives, right? But it was all pretty much the same thing. And then I think the last one, I was driving traffic to a collections page, just horrible metrics. I tested some more images. So this was just like a custom still image that I thought was really good. again, more images. But as you can see, very simple, basic media buying. Didn't really spend nearly enough to truly pursue a product. You know, if you're gonna spend $1,500 on a website, you're gonna spend $500 on content, you're gonna spend $100 on sample and inventory and all of these things, then like, you know, you definitely wanna put more than $600 into ads, or you wanna put more effort than just one TikTok video, which is what I did here. But again, I had good reasons. I was working on other things that were doing a lot better that needed my attention and focus. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like nostalgic looking back on this, knowing what I know now, even knowing what I knew then and that I knew I needed to do, but I didn't hold myself accountable to do, right? So I don't want to go off into a tangent, but that's a big reason why a lot of you guys aren't where you want to be. It's because you're not holding yourself accountable to doing the things you know you need to do, right? So it's not a lack of information or a lack of knowledge. It's just a lack of execution and self-accountability, right? So next time you're launching a brand, make sure you hold yourself accountable to spending what you project is needed to spend to get an efficient test in, that you get some proof of concept in the product prior to even spending your first dollar in ads, even if it's jumping in a Facebook group on men's fashion and saying, hey, what do you guys think about this product? Do you like it? What do you think about these images? It takes 15 minutes to do that, and that could save you 1,500 bucks. That's $100 a minute if you can't do math. You know, obviously, again, metrics weren't great, but you know, this is what was going on in Facebook ads. I think I spent maybe 100 bucks on TikTok ads as well. I honestly can't remember. If I had the account, I'd show you guys, because why would I have anything to hide on a failed brand? And so I want to actually show you the TikTok video that I initially launched. It gives you a little bit of a glimpse on the website. It's such a kind of a cringy video. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't, you know, what I can produce now, knowing what I know now, having ran the creatives for other brands, for my own brands, and just kind of knowing, being a little bit more of a content visionary, I guess you could say, or a creative, because I've definitely been more of slightly more of an analytical person than I have been a creative person. But you need a little bit of both to run any business, let alone an e-commerce business. But anyways, I'll let you guys try to think why things didn't go as well as they did, with this being the only video I believe that I had on this page. I can double check. Yeah, it's literally the only one. I mean, man, this is so funny, but we're gonna play it. You know, leave your comments down below in terms of what you expected, if you liked it, if you didn't. XYZ, man, this is gonna be funny.
After months of quality testing and preparation, realrings.com is live. Come place an order with me.
So that's funny, because that's actually my old apartment here where I live in New Jersey. You probably, you've seen stories of me if you've been following me on Instagram. So you know it's mine. I'm not making this stuff up. I had the nice little custom packaging. I had a pretty cool logo. I had nice custom packaging. I had the product samples, as you could see, and they were honestly really good quality. It was pretty cool. Like, for people that actually had anxiety or that needed something to fidget with, I mean, it was a really cool thing to have. Like, I would go out to like bars and go and hang out with my friends, and I'd wear it. And I'm someone that doesn't wear rings, and this was something that kind of sparked my attention. You know, you want to sell products that people are already buying, but that have an additive value proposition to it. So for example, Aura Ring, right? It's a ring, but it has an element of tracking your health, your sleep, your mental awareness, all of these different things. Same thing with this ring, right? It's a spinning ring. And so it's something that looks good, but it's also something that makes you feel good when you're tense, when you're stressed. Even when I was working, sometimes I would spin that thing. And I was like, man, I'm selling this to myself. But you got to make sure that other people are digging it too. And the biggest way to know that is if other people are already buying products that are similar to it. So there's a lot of people already buying products like these that were selling them, but a lot of them were popping off organically. They weren't doing the best with paid ads, at least from the beginning, because you want to build, again, a layer of foundational proof of concept with organic. You want to then take that momentum, that traction, that content, and then bring it over to paid ads, right? Where a lot of times your cost per purchases, your CPMs, all those things are going to lower naturally when you have more data that your pixel gets to work with, right? So anyways, let's watch the rest of the video. This part of the video, you're actually gonna be able to see the website a little bit. You might not be able to see the homepage, I'm not sure, but it was a pretty good website,
Step 1, go to realrings.com, then click all rings.
So this part right here was one of the customizations that I had, was all of the variants up there. And then obviously when you scroll over it, you can preview the image of a model wearing it, but you can also see maybe the different colorways or like the different stationery products. And what's crazy is all of these images were taken in less than 2 hours with like a little backdrop, a white backdrop, a little photo box, and a good camera and a good photographer, right? So it's really not that complicated to build good foundational content for the brand, but that's just one part of the battle, right? The other part is marketing it profitably, getting, video content, moving content, things that are gonna actually sell the product, having enough margins to be able to sell them profitably, right? All of these different things. So let's proceed.
Step 2. Choose your favorite design, colorway, and your ring size.
So this was personally my favorite. So as you can see, there's elements of German Kaspersky's website in the variants, in the structuring of like the pricing, the size guide, the kind of preview with like, you know, I don't know why, but I was so fixated on getting a similar structure because I thought it just looked so good. Down to the point where I had like the variant previews have like, you know, look a little bit better, things of that nature.
Step 3. Proceed to checkout, then sit back.
So if there was some advice that I would give my past self, it would be don't worry about being a perfectionist on the website. You know, focus on just having a minimum viable landing page that a 10-year-old can get to the website, navigate it, and make a purchase, right? So I thought this was pretty good, but it didn't need to be this fancy. It didn't need to be this complicated. And this isn't even that fancy, you know? Another thing I might have done is probably thrown on reviews. I think I wanted to build it up organically and naturally, but you know, sometimes you need that little bit of a kickstart of adding a couple of reviews yourself. If there are any lawyers watching this, please leave. But yeah, you get my point. There's a lot of things that could have been improved, but overall, it was a pretty good website.
And relax while we prepare your order. Step 4. Enjoy. Shopping new design.
So now, as you can see, like, it's not the worst video in the world, but the problem is it's not fast enough. There's a lot of problems with it, right? Like the biggest thing is it needs to be faster because the attention span on TikTok, on any social media marketing platform these days is seconds, right? So that when this is close to a minute, people aren't gonna watch the whole thing, right? People wanna say, check out what I just got, right? 3 seconds. Look how it looks on me. Oh my God, this is great. I can spin it while I'm working. I have ADHD, I have anxiety, blah, blah, blah. That's another 5 seconds, right? And then place an order with me. Boom, XYZ, blah, 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 blah. 10 seconds, the order's placed, and you're now showing B-roll throughout the process of you ordering it and wearing it, right? And now I just reduced this 50-second video that is kind of slow, a little bit boring, nobody really knows what's going on, down to maybe like 15, 20 seconds. And that's something that's gonna convert, right? And I make 20 of those with different products, with different angles, with different environments, with different trending sound, with different copy, with different hashtags, on different devices, and I split test all of these things, right? And that's what allows current brands to do better than past brands, past failed brands like this, right? So, you know, take it from me, some of the lessons that you can hopefully learn through my failures, and it's never really gonna hit you until you actually experience it yourself. So, you know, hopefully you're able to take some of that I talked about today, roll with it, make sure that your next e-commerce brand or your current brand does a little bit better than this one. Again, hope you got some value out of it. I'd really appreciate it if you left a comment down below. I don't even need to subscribe. I don't need a comment. I don't need a like. I'd rather have your feedback and your input on what videos you want to see moving forward, whether it's e-commerce, business related, content acquisition, whatever it might be. I'd love to help how I can. Hope this video served you, and I'll see you in the next one.